So this weekend, we are on our way back to Klamath Falls right now. We were in Myrtle Point for a worship conference with River Valley Church up there with Pastor Mike, and that went awesome. We did a Friday night session for the one and only amazing Pastor Jimmy over here. Led worship. I got to play cajon and djembe for, and then Pastor Jimmy shared on something which I can't recall right now, so I'll let him say what that was.
I preached on John 4.
That's right.
Yeah, just being hungry for the presence of Jesus and how Jesus wasn't looking at who the woman at the well was, but who she could become, and really just trying to invest in the church there in Myrtle Point, that they could grow and advance into who God has called them to be through worship, and to really connect and posture themselves that way. So then Pastor David took it from there, and John 4 and beyond.
4 and beyond was Lightyear of your brother. So then session number 2 was Saturday morning. After worship, I spoke a little bit on John 4, and it's that conversation that Jesus had with the Samaritan woman. And then I switched over. Don't feel bad for me not remembering yours, I don't remember mine. I switched over to Nikki. Darn, I can't find it. I'll find it in a moment. It's something to do with David.
Oh, David dancing.
David dancing, okay. Yeah. So in 2 Samuel, I believe it was chapter 6, just where David unveils himself in a sense, because as a king he had expectations of what it looked like to worship, what it looked like to be kingly in front of the people, and he abandoned those expectations to worship the Lord without shame, without concern, without worry, without distraction about all the things. And I just spoke to the church on the importance of, first of all, unveiling our hearts to the Lord, giving him our entire hearts and lives. But second, not getting distracted with all the things that are around us and the expectations that we have to have or do certain things for our worship to be valuable or meaningful. And so that was really good. And after lunch, we did a Q&A with the team. Pastor Jimmy, tell us about that.
We just talked to the people who were there about anything they wanted to ask questions about, and so we answered some questions about how to integrate youth into the adult service and how to raise up people into worship ministry, and sometimes some questions were about sound and team dynamics, and then we got into in-ears and metronomes, which I don't know how we got there, but it hopefully didn't overwhelm any of the people.
A couple of the ladies from the Nazarene church, they're thinking about going to in-ears. There's been a conversation at their church, and so they were curious how that worked.
So that was pretty fun, just to give them some framework within to dream and grow, and realize that it's a stewardship to actually get better at what we do instead of just kind of be content where we are. And so that was our hope, not to overwhelm them with technical jargon, but to cause them to dream a little bit and to realize that they can be better at what they do, and that it's just as valuable as what the pastor is doing to prepare for the message, as them stewarding what they do as a worship team.
And so then after the Q&A, we had an evening of glory.
Yeah.
And that was really good.
It was just a sweet time, and just letting the people worship and just kind of enact what we had talked about. And there wasn't really any specific direction other than just letting the people be, and I thought that was really good for people just to have an opportunity to just worship the Lord, and just with the simplicity of just a keyboard and some percussion instruments, and showing that there really can be an intimate encounter with the Father without all of the bells and whistles that sometimes we think we have to have in order to have a time of worship. So it was just really cool to see people connect and make some relationships that way.
So how many churches / pastors did we have there?
I don't know how many pastors we had, but we had 5 congregations represented throughout the weekend, which is a really big deal. You know, 'cause you never know what deposit they take and bring it home to their home church, and what it will do even in the years to come as they start to just build on what they received.
that was really good. We had a couple dozen people from around the community and at least 5 churches. I know there was at least one other pastor there from one of those churches. And just to see the unity of the body in Myrtle Point was beautiful. All these churches that were involved and connected. They said this was the first annual. They plan on doing again, so that was exciting. And then this morning, after last night's Evening Glory, we had one last session with the whole church there, with all of the Assembly of God church there. And Pastor Jimmy got to speak one final message on Jehoshaphat. Tell me about that.
I preached on 2 Chronicles 19 and 20, where Jehoshaphat took the kingdom but really confessed before God, I don't know what I'm doing and I need your help. And then it wound up that the Ammonites and the Moabites and the people from Mount Seir came against Judah, and they had to go to battle. And instead of freaking out, they went to the Lord and cried out to him with fasting, and even the wives and the children did the same. And God told them to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. So they went up on top of the mountain and they began to praise the Lord. He sent out the worshipers even before the swordsmen, and God defeated the enemy. Instead of them having to fight, they crested the hill after the worship service and saw all of the enemy was defeated and dead. And so just taking that, just helping the corporate body, this beyond the worship ministries, but the corporate body to realize the importance of corporate worship and what it means to position yourself as a worshiper before you ever even face a valley, before you ever even face a hardship, to where when you face the hardship and when you face the valley, you know who you are and you know how to fight and you know who is the victor. And so it was just really powerful to try and help the church to understand that they are responsible for positioning themselves in a place of worship, and why it's not a spectator sport. It's something that you do as a body to see victory in your city.
Yeah. So we had an awesome weekend, loving the church in Myrtle Point, all the churches in Myrtle Point, and seeing God move there. So, any last words, Pastor Jimmy?
I think we should do that again sometime.
I would agree.